Alright, Act 5, the conclusion of William Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. Welcome back, my intelligent friends, to Tea and Lit. In today's video, we're going to be discussing Act 5 of William Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, so please grab yourselves a cuppa and a copy, and let's get into it. Do you know what's in here? Water. Do you know what I really need in here? Some Earl Grey tea. Oh, you know what? I'm going to do a video. If it's done, I will put a link to it. If it's not, then I will put a link to it in the future, or click subscribe. How to make a cup of Earl Grey tea correctly. It's a cup of tea that people don't really enjoy, but they don't know how to make it correctly. So, I will do a video on how to make Earl Grey tea correctly, because it's quite delicious. It's actually my favorite form of black tea. Followed closely by Irish or Scottish breakfast tea. The two taste very similar. I imagine you don't want to tell an Irishman or a Scottishman that, but the two taste very similar. Act 5. Be thou my witness that against my will I am compelled to set upon one battle all our liberties. That is Cassius, if I remember correctly. So they're at war. So you've got Brutus and Cassius on Team A. You've got Mark Antony and Octavius on Team B. Team A has killed Julius Caesar. Team B is avenging Julius Caesar's death. Bum, bum, there is battle to be fought and won. So who wins, who loses, let us find out in Act 5. Look, I draw a sword against conspirators. Scene 1, line 54. Octavius is drawing his sword against Brutus, okay? Caesar, thou canst not die by traitors' hands unless thou bringest them with thee. I don't really like that sentence. For reading it out loud myself, I like it better. Caesar, thou canst not. That's the part I don't like. It feels like a double negative. I suppose that you can't tell William Shakespeare that he's writing wrong because he is basically the primary contributor to the English language. Caesar, thou canst not die by traitors' hands unless thou bringest them with thee. And so I think that's Octavius, if I remember correctly, in line 59 of scene 1, saying that, you know, Caesar is not going to die without being avenged. What color did you highlight that? Pink. Hybla in line 36, a hybla bee is a type of bee, a place in ancient Sicily famous for its honey. Cassius seems to refer to Antony's sweet words to the conspirators after the assassination. Antony, the posture of your blows are yet unknown, but for your words they rob the hybla bees and leave them honeyless. That's funny. Good words are better than bad strokes. Octavius, words before blows, is it so, countrymen? Let's dial it back. Let's dial ourselves back. So Octavius and Antony are discussing their strategy about how to get to the conspirators. The generals step forward. Brutus says, words before blows, is it so, countrymen? I don't really like that. I think we should always talk before we fight, because fights ought to be avoided whenever possible. Now, to be fair, they'd already talked, and, you know, Antony had already concluded that there was no need for Brutus and Cassius to kill Caesar. So, you know, they talked it out. Octavius says, not that we love words better as you do, which seems like a wee bit of a slight. Brutus, good words are better than bad strokes, Octavius. That seems a wee bit condescending, don't you think? A little bit later, between Antony and Cassius, the posture of your blows are yet unknown, but for your words they rob the hybla bees and leave them honeyless. So it seems hybla bees apparently are a special type of bee in Sicily, and ancient Sicily. Oh, that's sad. If you live or have been to Sicily, are the hybla bees still a thing? And if they're not, why not? That seems like something that would be fun to Google later. Because we embrace dark academia over here at Tea and Lit, and that means that we ask questions while reading and then spend all night Googling what they mean. But I think Cassius is saying here to Antony, you know, you kind of manipulated a situation and said that everything, that you were going to be peaceful after we murdered your best friend, and now you're not. And we don't like that. Brutus says, this is super interesting. I'd like to know your thoughts on why Brutus is the one to say this. Caesar, thou canst not die by traitors' hands unless thou bringest them with thee. So I think Brutus is consigning himself to his own death. Octavius is ready to fight anytime, any place. And the way we say that is anytime, any place. The way Octavius says it, if you dare fight today, come to the field. If not, when you have stomachs. We will be ready to kill you whenever, wherever. Now Cassius is speaking with Messala, consigning himself to, you know, the inevitability of his demise. He says, be thou my witness that against my will, as Pompey was, am I compelled to set upon one battle all our liberty. So he knows this is going to be the mother of all battles, the moment to decide their fates and their futures. Something that I thought was really funny, in line 86, it says, ready to give up the ghost. That is an expression that I have heard before. And so it's interesting to see that line in here. And there's so many things that, like, I've heard, you know, my dad or my grandparents or relatives, whatever, say these kind of things that seem like sweet little, I don't know, Southern expressions. I assume Southern because my family's from the South. But it seems like a lot of things are taken from Shakespeare. Brutus has definitely decided, like, it is what it is. We are where we are, and that's just going to be that. He says in line 135, the day will end, and then the end is known. Come, ho, away. After kind of oscillating, saying, well, we don't know what's going to happen. I'd love to know what's going to happen, but we just don't. He's like, you know what? The end will come, and we'll deal with it when it does. And I think that perspective on life is actually really a good one to have, where it's like, don't be anxious about... Even Littlefinger says in Game of Thrones, don't worry about your death, because, like, the end will come when it comes, and what you have to do is figure out how you're going to navigate up until that point. Ride, Marcella, ride, and give these bills unto the legions on the other side. Let them set on at once, for I perceive what demeanor in Octavius' wing, and sudden push them the overthrow. Ride, Marcella, ride, let them come all down. Here is his pre-death monologue. Come down, behold no more, O coward, that I am to live so long, to see my best friend taken over my face. Pindarus comes down. Come hither, Sirrah. In Parthia did I take thee prisoner, and then I swore thee, saving thy life, that whatsoever I did bid thee do, thou shouldest attempt it. Come now, keep thine oath. Now be a free man, and with this good sword that ran through Caesar's bowels, search this bosom. Pindarus is a servant of Cassius. I should probably explain that. So he's asking his servant. So Cassius is asking his servant to stab him in the gut. Stand not to answer here. Take thou the hilts, and then when my face is covered, as 'tis now, guide thou the sword. Caesar, thou art revenged, even with the sword that killed thee. So Cassius has basically killed himself. We'll call it basically killing himself. Titanius and Octavius are moving against Brutus. Cassius has died, and his legion is being moved against by Antony. So they're not doing well, the conspirators. And so Brutus says, you know what, it's mid-afternoon, let's dial back a strategic... What is it called? Not a strategic relocation. That's a different thing, darling. Strategic retreat. Brutus calls upon a strategic retreat to regroup and then move forward again in a wee bit. After he's had time to breathe. And then they go back out. Later on, we see 'tis 3 o'clock, and Romans yet ere night, we shall try fortune in a second fight, which is just a brilliantly written line. Antony says, I'd rather have such men as friends and not enemies, because when you know your enemies are tough, that can be difficult. And Caesar did try to warn him in Act 1. Strato. Give me your hand first. Fare you well, my lord. Farewell, good Strato. Caesar, and then Brutus runs into the sword that Strato is holding, up for him to run himself into. Caesar, now be still. I killed not thee with half as good a will. That is Brutus's last line. So now all of the conspirators are dead. So both Brutus and Cassius, who are two of our main characters, have basically run themselves through with a sword, with actually the weapons, if I'm not mistaken, both of them, with the weapons that they used to kill Caesar. So the final line in the play is from Octavius. According to his virtue, let us use him with all respect and rites of burial. Within my tent his bones tonight shall lie, most like a soldier, ordered honorably. So call the field to rest, and let's away to part the glories of this happy day. Thank you guys so much for going through William Shakespeare's Julius Caesar with me. The next video in this series will be the conclusion video, so please do hit subscribe and ding the bell. As always, in the description box is the Julius Caesar notes, as well as some swag that you can pick up if you'd like. In the comments, I would love to know your final thoughts on the play before we get into the conclusion video. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye.